Alright, hello and welcome to my second part of my one-man metal band article that I'm writing on my website, rogerbojard.com. If you haven't checked out the first article, check it out on the website. Bunch of info there. We built a drum set using Linux Multimedia Studio. We put it together with free samples from freesound.org. And now we're ready to import that WAV file that we exported, bring it into Cubase. As I mentioned in this article here, the first article, that we're going to use Cubase LE because a lot of you probably already have it. Probably came with your audio device or something similar. Most digital audio workstations work the same. They all have similar features, and for the basic one-man band, just rocking like what we're doing, a little short gore metal song, you don't need much more than anything that can just record multi-track. Alright, so go check out the article that precedes this video also. Here, there's some info in there and some links to the devices I'm using. I'm using a Tascam US800. It's a 6-input XLR, phantom power, quarter-inch. There's split ones, they're dual. They're quarter-inch and XLR on each one. Individual volume levels, 2 headphone outs, RCA outs, MIDIs. There's a SPDIF too, I think, on here, some kind of optical. Basically, all you need as a minimum would be something like a Tascam UX1, something that's got an XLR and a quarter-inch, and that's a good minimum to start. Then you can use pro mics, and preferably something's got phantom power. I don't know if the UX1 has phantom power. Someone who has it, I'm sure, will know. I know the UX2 does. I'm assuming has it, but anyway, you'll want something with phantom power if you're out shopping around, because then you can use quality condenser mics. This is actually a pretty cheap mic. This is really good for the price. This is where's a link here? This is a MXL 910. You can get these actually for $50 on sale. Keep your eyes open. A great place to go shopping actually is Musician's Friend has Stupid Deal of the Day. That's where I got mine for $50. Keep an eye on it. Changes every day. All right, let's get on with it. So what we're going to do is first get into Cubase and get our drum track imported. First, actually, let's make a project. So we're going to go ahead and choose an empty project, go into our folder, choose song 1 from our first tutorial. We have our folder set up here, and we're choosing our song 1 folder, which we had previously saved our Linux Multimedia Studio file into for our drum track. And Cubase has created an audio folder already. It's going to create an images folder and a few things that it uses. And you'll see here, this is my workspace. Your workspace might not look the same. We've got a bunch of stuff here. Here's your project area. This down here is your mixer. If you don't see your mixer, you can open it here. Your mixer, if that's closed, mixer. And this is your transport control. I like to keep it up here because it's kind of nothing else up there, so it's nice and out of the way. It gives me a lot of space here. We're only going to do a few tracks in this stereo drum track, which we're going to import right now. Actually, first we're going to save this in our one-man band folder, and we're going to call this Song 1. We'll come up with some lyrics. You guys will help me with lyrics, I'm sure. And we'll lay something down in a future video. All right, save that as Song 1 so that we have this all set for Control S, save, and whatever. All right, let's bring in from our drum outs folder in our one-man band folder here, drum outs, where we previously saved the drums. And we're going to copy this to the working directory. And we're working actually, getting a little ahead again here. We're working at 44.1 16-bit just for this tutorial. I recommend that you record at higher bit rates, whatever your audio hardware will allow you to go to. If you could do 24-bit, if it's anything final, save it at the highest quality. We're doing it at 44.1 16-bit because all the stuff plays nice together as far as being able to screen cap and record and everything on here, and it'll make much smaller file sizes to share with everybody for when we share the project files, which you can get on the website. All right, so we've brought our song in, and you can see a graphical representation of it here. And if we play, we can hear it. And that's cranking. Let's bring that down. Drop it down -4. That looks happy right there. Booming. All right. And again, getting a little ahead of ourselves. If we wanted to change that 44.1 and what we're actually, our project is, we go to project setup, and in here is where you would change your sample rates and your recording format. Choose whatever your sound card will, your audio interface will allow. All right, let's get our devices set up also. We're going to want to, this is cake, that's pretty much it to bringing your audio in. I mean, the drums are in there, that's it, they're ready to play to. So let's get the guitar going. We'll bring up our device setup, and you can see in here, go to VST Audio Setup. And now this is the US-800 ASIO driver that comes with the Tascam US-800. I recommend you use the ASIO driver certified for whatever device you have. You can play around with this ASIO for all, which kind of connects a bunch of stuff outside the scope of this. Use whatever ASIO driver came with your device. And what you're going to want to do is monitor through headphones plugged into your device or the output, the monitor outs of your device through whatever speakers you have. I got a set of Alesis Monitor 1s here, but for recording I generally keep my headphones on, and that's because you want to hear. Most devices have direct monitoring. What that's going to do is allow you to listen with no latency. And in English, that means when you hit your strings, you won't hear the distorted guitar a half second later. It will be synced up. It will be close to synced up. It'll be a few milliseconds. I believe here, this 11 milliseconds. All right. Now, if we go to here into, also real quick, if you don't release the driver. This way, if you hop out of the program, it's not shutting off and on your card. Leave it so where it can lock onto it. Leave the rest alone in that window too. Here you can see we're only using input 1 and 2. If we wanted to add more stuff, we would go into our connections here. We'll go in real quick and see here these are our inputs on the VST connections. I already have it set up for mic and guitar, and we're actually using the left and right inputs of the US-800. This will be, again, specific to whatever sound card you're using. That's what I'm using. If you want to add a bus, you add another bus. Let's put another stereo bus to use input 3 and 4. And automatically it chooses 3 and 4. Chooses the next ones. And you can add output buses. You can route stuff. This is the main stereo out, which represents this right here. This down in your... Let's cancel that. This stereo out here. This is the master out, which right now the drums are going directly to the stereo out. If we wanted to create several buses, we can create output buses up in our device connections, and we can also create groups down at the bottom here that we can route our output to also. All right, that's again getting ahead of myself. So what we want to do in connections is just make sure that the left, you're going to probably be using the left only for your guitar input for now, unless you're going to wire it up like I have it. I have my microphone on input 1, the XLR, and the 1/4 inch on 2. You might not be able to do it simultaneously. Depends on your device. You might not be able to do phantom power. Most things you could do phantom power with a 1/4 inch jack because the power's not on. The 1/4 inch isn't going to hit the power. That's on the other prongs. So don't worry about it. But check your thing. Don't blame me if you destroy things. It's not my fault. All right. So let's get going. Let's just make sure you got your output bus there and you're aware of where it's routing, and that you're monitoring through the headphone jack or monitors that are plugged into the stereo outs. Let's get rid of that. And that your input bus is routed to the left channel and the right channel here. For whatever, if you're setting it up like I am. You got it. All right, let's move on. We're going to make sure we're clicked into our project up here, and we're going to add a few tracks. We're going to add an audio track. We're going to add 3 right away, mono tracks. And we're going to call this one bass. Call this LG for left guitar. Call this RG for right guitar. And you can see it's default to record, set to record whichever one you're clicked on. I don't particularly care for that behavior. I would call that a bug. They'll call it a feature. But you just turn it off. Just be aware of that. All right. Let's go to our guitars here. And now I'm going to real quick just show you how to monitor. Well, your device will come with a mixer. This is the US 800's mixer. Now, if you have a Line 6 UX2, a UX1, something like that, you're going to have your own mixer or whatever software interface you're using. You've got a monitoring mixer, and that's basically what this is. This is for monitoring. You could see right here my level for my microphone, and we're listening to it. If I were to mute, you couldn't hear me. All right, now also here are guitars wired in, and I'm able to run them simultaneous. So if I turn on the volume here and unmute that, you could hear that's our dry signal. All right, nothing too exciting there. So what we want to do is record that dry signal, but we don't want to monitor it. So we don't want to hear that dry signal. We want to hear the distortion that our VST plugin is going to provide for us. So we're going to mute that so that we can play, and you'll see we're still getting a signal. Now, if you're hearing anything, it's from this mic. You're not hearing from that mic. I'm sure you can tell the difference. All right, so we want to keep that on mute. So we'll minimize that. All right, first we're going to set up our input for this channel. We're going to actually set them up for all these channels. We don't need anything for the drum track. For the bass, we're going to set up right here our input to be the right channel, because remember that's where my guitar is plugged in. On your device, it might be the left channel, might be input 3, and however you're setting it up. Actually, usually I'll keep 2 mics plugged in if I got somebody over recording, and I don't want to have to plug wires in and out, and they're going to do vocals and on one side of the room, and I'm going to do them on the other. I'll keep 2 XLRs plugged into 1 and 2, and then I'll use 3 and 4 for guitar and bass. Whatever way your setup is, make sure here on your track that you set up your input to correspond with whatever you're plugged into. All right, so we're setting all these up to go to the right. So we can click that on, and now we'll hear. All right. So, not a very exciting sound, but we're going to be able to record the dry sound there. So, let's go ahead and pull up what we're going to use. Here, let me show you here. This little edit audio channel settings. You click that on, that gives you your EQ, your sends, your inserts. This is where you're going to set up your VST plugin right here. And what we're going to use, let me hop over to the browser. Line 6 has Pod Farm, which is very popular and cool, so I'm going to use it. And they have a demo. They got a trial version. It's a free version that we can use. You guys can all download it to play around and load this sound that we're going to create in here. Yeah, that's that. So if you check out the article, I put a link in here somewhere, I believe, to the direct to the free version. Somewhere in there, free version. All right, back to Cubase. Now, what we're going to do is in here, I usually skip a bank or 2 just in case I want to add any pre-effects or anything before it. Just start in the middle. Hate that. Click too fast. All right, so if we click and we go down to Pod Farm 2, it'll give us a little warning too, no license found. Again, you might have a version of this, so check. If you're, I got a version that came with my KB37 device. You might have one that came with your UXI. You will need the full VST plugin version of Pod Farm. I don't know if they're still doing two separate versions. They used to do two separate versions where the one you got was like a light version. If it's a light version, you won't be able to open it up in here. You won't be able to see it as a VST instrument. I'm not going to go into how to install it as a VST instrument. There's plenty of other tutorials for that. Let's get on to building something. You can see here we're starting default sound. Nothing going on here. So J800 here. If you click on these, brings it up. And I've got a gate default set for the amount of noise I usually have on this line. You know, control your noise. This is going to be noisy. I got my air conditioner going on in here, and there's going to be noise going on. I didn't even turn my cell phone off. So, but of course, if you're recording, you should, you know, really turn everything off, turn the fans off. Don't have a fan right next to you. Obviously, your pickups are magnets with coils around them. You don't want a magnetic field spinning right next to you. If you have old televisions or CRT monitors, I don't know if anybody has those anymore these days, but if there's anything old around like that, shut it off. Use flat panels, shielded speakers, all that stuff. Plenty of info out there for that. So let's get on to building a sound here for our guitar dry signal. So this will be, let's crank up our gain. Let's give it like, yeah, we'll just boost it. Set up our bass. Take our mids down. A little treble. Presence would be good right there. Probably like a 90 output. And back a little bit, or up a little bit there, rather. I like the 57 off axis. It's good for guitar. Now, Pod Farm, I'm going to just do a very simple single chain here, but Pod Farm lets you have two channels and switch back and forth between the two sounds for like lead and rhythms, or combine the two sounds for a totally unique sound. I'm not going to go into that. Really easy, really quick. We can hear now, if we turn on our monitoring, you can see we're getting some heat already. And we'll take that gain down a touch. There we go. And we're getting a little noise. And there's probably some weird noise too from the way that I am. No, actually, let's cut that out. Because of the way, right here, your gate controls. If I shut this off, you'll hear with our gain cranked, we're gonna have a ton of noise. Right there. That's as quiet as she gets holding it. And even if I shut off my bass pickup here and switch to it, terrible. So back with our gate, your threshold and your decay here. Control your gate. All right, so you can see right now we're already getting a pretty good sound. Let's beef this up though. Let's add some toys, and we go here, and there's a ton of stuff to play with the free version here. It's just rolling around. Let's grab the screamer, and we'll just put the screamer down there. Double click, and we don't want to add too much, just a touch, just to pop that a little bit more. We're going to actually combine two distortion pedals here, so you'll see what we got now. Just giving us a little more buzz. All right. Let's add another distortion pedal, and this will add a little more drive here. Let's see. Facial fuzz, we're going to pop that right there. And we're 50. And drop that right. Take that up actually. Right Let's see. Now we're getting a nice. Let's see, we added a little more than what we started with. Now we're taking that original J800 head here with these two, just adding a little bit of heat. And this here, if we want to add a little more pre-gain, you can add a little more gain here. All right, you get the idea there. Now we can also add an EQ in here. Let's and there's tons of speakers to choose from. I'm just leaving this British Celestians one on here. Compressors and all kinds of toys to play with. We're not gonna mess with any of that. Let's just pop on. I'm just giving you the basic idea. It's not really about building a guitar sound. It's about getting this all together. What am I looking for? The EQ. Where are you? It's here somewhere. There we go. These little console. Boom. And that'll give you, just like on your mixing board, a nice little EQ. We put that after. Alright. And we're going to just keep that. We're going to take that down just a touch. Right there. Boost that a little bit. Right there. Just a touch. And then right there. Because we popped that a little, we're going to bring that down. Muttering, aren't I? Alright. And this should sound pretty decent. Got a lot of heat. Now that we have that built, we can close that up. And actually, let's save that. Let's save this as a preset. Just click the little disk here, save as. And we're just going to quickly name it. You can go ahead and put all that stuff in on yours. We're going to call this One Man Metal Band. And Death Metal. Oh, didn't see here. Metal. Alright. Artist. RGB. RGB. Thought I said I wasn't going to do that. I did, though. All this stuff you could go ahead and put in. Save. Alright. Let's close. Now, we did this on the individual track, which means we would have to either... there's two ways to go about. If you're splitting the guitars full left and right, which I recommend you do a full left and a full right track, what you can do is add the effect later on the group channel, which I'll show you in a minute. What we just did was add it on the individual channel. So here you can see on left guitar, Pod Farm. If we go over to right guitar, there's nothing. Now we could go ahead, add it, come in, find One Man Band. Where are you? One Man Band. And we have it, and we're all set, and that's good. And that's a way to do it, and you can actually get two sort of different buzzes. They're not as synced as the other way that I'm going to show you. If you have an older computer and you're having trouble handling... I'm not sure if this even applies, but just in case. If you guys have a little bit older computer and you can't run as many VST plugins at once, this way that I'm going to show you next, we're going to turn this off real quick. We're going to turn this one off. That's what that does right there. This next way will save you a little bit of CPU. What we're going to do is go ahead and add a track, and we're going to add a group channel. We're going to put two in in there for right now and make sure they're stereo. And that pops 2 group channels down in here. Now, let me just rename these. We're going to call this guitars, and we're going to call this music. All right. And now, what group channels do, group channels allow you to create submixes that we can apply effects to, so we could and control volume. So what we could do is take our left guitar and our right guitar, and instead of sending them to the stereo out, what we're going to do is make sure you're selected, left guitar, and it stereo out here, we're going to choose groups, guitars. And our guitars output is going to the stereo out. So it's going through this, basically. So anything we do to this is going to apply to anything that's outputting to it. So we'll take our right guitar, and we'll go ahead and apply that. We'll send that to the guitars also. And now you'll see, let's make sure we had that, right? We did that before. If we play something, we can see here. Let's also go full left, full right. Now this also only works, really, if you're going at least 90% left and 90% right. And the reason is, if you start layering too many dry sounds on top of each other and applying only one single effect to each one of those, it's the same thing as if you plugged like 2 guitars into an amp head through some kind of Y adapter. It's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. This only works really if you're doing a pretty much left and right split on the guitar sound. And it will give you a nice synced up left and right, you know, perfectly synchronized sound, if that's what you're going for. All right, so if we turn on our little monitor there, you can see now we're only coming out of the left, and we're dry because we have no effects applied yet. If I turn on the monitor for the right guitar, now we have both of them going, and you can see the meters there representing the left and the right. All right, what we want to do is keep those monitors on, and we're going to come into the guitar group, and here, sometimes it's quick, and we're going to choose Pod Farm, then we're going to go down to One Man Band. Now, both channels are now routing through there. Our gate is not set again. I don't know why, but we'll bring that down. There we go. All right. More like there, 35, I think. A little noisy in here with everything on. All right. So we've got our preset loaded, and we're good to go. All right, so if we record anything on these 2 channels, we'll turn both of them on. We can record them simultaneously. We'll get all set here. Just jam it, whatever riff here. Hit record. We'll figure that out. But you can see here, right there, we're recording the actual... Let me shut these off and the monitors off. If we play this back, turn that off, we're recording the dry signal. The reason we're doing that is, watch, we can go in now, fine tune, completely change whatever amp settings you want. cool. That'll work, actually. Alright. So, let's scrap that. We don't want to record them both at the same time. Actually, I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it up there. That's probably good for this. We'll do the actual recording in the next video. We'll apply some effects. We'll do some more grouping. We'll play with some stuff. Let's rename that drums real quick. And save. We're going to save this. And I'll go ahead and zip up all this stuff as it is here. Post it with the article. Go ahead and go to rogerbojard.com. Check it out. Follow me on everything. Facebook, SoundCloud, all that junk. Everything. YouTube, SoundCloud, all that stuff. Go check out the articles. Hope you enjoy.